Yeah, so I do have, obviously, we are going to talk about my case, and we are going to talk about some of my jail stories. That's going to be in a new show that I'm introduced later on in this episode called Lowercase. But basically, a lot of people, or just a few people, actually have been making it incredibly hard for me, as well as a bunch of other people, to bring this UFC Africa card into fruition and actually change this economy, change this country for the better. As it stands, I do have people in China, in where like most of my friends come from, which is the northern part of China, which is Shandong. And basically, yeah, I've got a friend there because I can't be there, and we're trying to have some big conversations with the Chinese government on obviously some trade deals going on, some of the businesses I intend on starting, bringing my brothers on with me, and then obviously some of the businesses they intend on starting and hopefully bringing me on along as well. Yeah, so basically, to break it down quickly, the business districts, the tourism districts, is all the southern part of China, and the northern parts is the one of the manufacturing capabilities. So we're just busy in discussions with our northern brothers there and sisters to obviously kind of see, can we actually build a closed arena quick enough for the UFC, and can it meet the requirements and capabilities to get approval quick enough as well. So there are very serious conversations happening at a very high level with a lot of very high level people, which is why, just quickly, I did get upset earlier last month, because a lot of people were obviously trying to start their pick-a-ninny businesses and piggyback it off something that we were trying to create for the betterment of the world, actually, at this stage, not even just a country or a continent, which, like I said, I'm going to get into lowercase with some time. But yeah, that's what we're busy with, trying to have these conversations to obviously see if it is feasible and profitable for us to build a closed arena stadium. We're also trying to obviously play the angle of our existing closed arena stadiums, if you heard the last goal label, or we are trying to obviously do an open stadium event, which there will be a bit of a hustle on, if I'm being honest here. So yeah, if Dana is still not having a UFC in an open stadium, then it makes sense for us to get behind the UFC Africa card, Europe card, which will obviously then predictably happen in Spain before Africa and South Africa. And I'm saying that because obviously Real Madrid is a powerful football club, it's a powerful company, just not in Europe or Spain, but in the world. And I think we saw it in the last post-fight press conference for UFC 308, when Dana was asked a couple questions about him saying about a bunch of out-of-pocket things as usual, but he did get his tail caught in between his legs, and his tongue did cross his mouth there, and he did have to recant what he said. So look, if they want to start off with us, then sure, go ahead. We're more than willing and more than able to accommodate an open stadium venue. But if he doesn't do it with us, he's going to have to do it at the Bernabeu anyway. That just makes too much of sense and too much of money for the UFC to pass up. Yeah, a UFC definitely does need to happen in the Bernabeu, and I do think that there needs to be kind of the amalgamation of cultures when it comes to football and then combat sports, if Dana wants to look at first taking over the king share and lion's share of the markets in the US. Before even thinking about tackling the big boys internationally, he needs to take market share and a whole bunch of it in the US. And I think the way to do that is obviously be very integral with the collaboration in terms of world football. And the way to do that is obviously first start off with the PSL, do your data research, and then go and phase it off to La Liga and then the European League and stuff like that. And I think that's how he's going to first take the US market, which is what needs to happen if he even wants to have a say in taking the international market. So that's just some food for thought. But either way, like I said, me and mine, I'm, well, at least from my perspective, I'm very happy with our position as South Africa and Africa, and like I'm very happy with the delegation that's going to speak on behalf of Africa. There's a lot of people that I consider to be close, and then as well as people I look up to, some role models and stuff like that. So I'm very happy with that kind of representation.